everybody, unless of course you're watching this video in the evening, in that case good evening, and you are watching Time Travel TV on tour, and for the first time I will be leaving the threshold of my humble abode, and I'll be taking you with me using the power of YouTube, and we will be seeing the Peak District, and we'll see places like Bakewell, Buxton, the Heights of Abraham, and we will finish off with our grand finale of seeing the B-29 crash site overexposed, which crashed there in 1948. Shall we go? Let's go! Hello, we are in Matlock at the Heights of Abraham, which was a lead mine for over 400 years, until about the 19th century, where the lead sort of ran out, and in 1845 they opened it as a tourist attraction for Victorian visitors, in which they would take their hard-earned cash and, well, show them a very deep black hole, because they had very few candles back then. And I have brought you here not only because this is the exit to one of the mines, but we have a really nice view. Look over there. That's lovely, isn't it? So, hello, we are back. Tim has just informed me that we're going through a rather interesting railway tunnel soon, and we are here to go through it. Now, it used to be a railway tunnel for the Leaky Manifold Railway, probably built in the 19th century, I should say, if I know my railway history, which I literally don't. And here it comes. It's now a road tunnel. Here it comes. This should be very exciting. Tim has assured me that this is going to be really, really exhilarating, and here we go.
It's got a good echo.
Did you hear that? That was pretty good, wasn't it? We're coming. We're still going.
Turn left onto Swainsea.
That was a sat-nav. And wasn't that exciting? Absolute made my day, that did. Now, contrary to what I said in that video, the Leak and Manifold Light Railway was actually in operation from 1904 to 1934 and was on operation for, well, 30 years. Its chief engineer was Everard Calthorpe, who was a leading advocate of the narrow gauge railway and had previously built railways in India, such as the Barsi Light Railway. The chairman of the company was Charles Bill, and he was the NP for Leak at the time. This is a 1930 newsreel of the railway. Hang on, our railway tunnel is coming up! So, you may or may not, as the case may be, seen the film The Prince's Bride, and I saw it the other night because Ollie forced me to, and it was actually surprisingly good. Anyway, it turns out that where they filmed it was actually really, really close to where we're staying, and it was really, really close to where we are now. About here somewhere. Nice, isn't it?
Engaged your prince at the same hour, or did you wait a whole week out of respect for the dead?
You mocked me once, never do it again!
The Prince's Bride is a 1987 film by 20th Century Fox and made $30 million at the box office. Now, this is the scene of the location that we went to, and we had plans to try and recreate this scene. However, when we saw quite how steep the hill was, we had second thoughts. Because, trust me, it looks steeper in real life than it looks on the camera. So, hello. Now, it turned out that there was a Roman fort about a 5-minute walk from where we were staying. So I decided to come and have a look, and here we are. Now, unfortunately, I don't know much about it, because I literally found out it was here 5 minutes ago, so I know nothing about it. It was a Roman fort, and we're in the Peak District. And here it is. This was probably a wall right here, and it probably went round there, round here, round here, and guess what? It forms a rectangle like all other Roman forts. So yes, that's the Roman fort. Done. So we just walked a bit further and we found these rocks, and I have a strong suspicion that these are part of it. And that's all I really have to say at this, but I'm afraid I honestly cannot tell you any more than what I just have. Now, after some research, it turns out the academics don't know a lot more than I do on this subject. I've been able to find out that a earthwork and timber structure was built in the year 80 AD, and that was replaced with a stone structure in the year 150 AD, and it was occupied for the next 200 years, being subsequently rebuilt and drastically altered until the year 350 AD, when it was pretty much abandoned for good. It was designated as a historic monument in 1925 and excavated many times, the first time of which was in 1903. And apart from that, I think that's really all we know, but never mind, let's move on, shall we? Hello, I am in sunny Buxton, which is what the weather forecast told me, which is why I'm very inappropriately dressed. So I am here at Buxton railway station, which was designed by Joseph Paxton, who coincidentally also designed Crystal Palace, not to be confused with the football club. I am now going to get out of this absolute pouring rain. Well, you'll be pleased to know I did dry off eventually, and this is some archive footage of the railway at Buxton in 1956. However, I'm going to use this as an opportunity to talk to you a little bit about Sir Joseph Paxton. He was born in 1801 in Bedfordshire and died in 1865. He was an English landscape gardener and architect, most famous for designing the Crystal Palace for the Great Exhibition of 1851 in London. His favourite medium to use was glass, which is evident in much of his work. In fact, the railway station at Buxton used to have a glass roof before they got rid of it. But never mind, eh? It still looks very nice. Hello, I'm in Millersdale now, and I have found some lime kilns which opened in 1878 and were in use until the 1930s. But even more interesting, I've actually found some real-life stalactites. And I've never actually seen those in real life, so I'm very impressed with myself. That's another thing ticked off my bucket list, that is. Hello, we are still in Millersdale, and I have come across Millersdale Station. It is not in use anymore. It's shut down during the Beechings cuts. However, the platforms are here. It was built in 1863. In 1905, 3 further platforms were added. They have the original viaduct over there, and another one over here, which was built early in the 20th century. It was built by the Midlands Railway on the main line from London to Manchester, and I'm afraid that's about as far as my train knowledge goes. Hello, it turns out my train knowledge has gone a little bit further. This is the original viaduct, which was built in 1863, and that is the other viaduct, which was built in 1905. And look, come, see this. I found the word cliff on it, which may mean it was built by a man called Cliff. However, Will has just informed me all the railways are built by Irish navvies, and I'm not sure Cliff is a particularly Irish name. However, here it is. It looks very good, doesn't it? Will, don't get my camera too close to the edge, you might drop it or something. Hello, and I am in Bakewell, which is the place where they invented the Bakewell tart, and it gives its name to it. And this shop has been here since 1865, selling them to people like me and like William, who has just given me a Bakewell tart that he has just purchased. It was shortly after filming that piece Will informed me that he had actually purchased a Bakewell pudding and not a Bakewell tart. But never mind, I suppose that's his fault really, isn't it? But now was time for perhaps the highlight of any trip to the Peak District. A trip to see the crash site of the B-29 overexposed that has been there since 1948. Now, before we go any further, I'd like to point out we set out far too late to see this. In fact, by the time we reached there, it was pitch black. So, let's see this, shall we? Hello, it is 20 to 9 on a Wednesday evening, and we finally made it to the crash site. This is the B-29 called Overexposed that crashed here during the 1948. Anyway, so I hope you can see me well, because I've literally got two friends here holding torches, trying to keep it light, because we set out way too late to try and see this, and we didn't realise it was going to be dark. So, here we are, we finally made it, and this has been an amazing journey. Thank you for watching. Cheerio.